Hi, my name's Jennifer Crowe, and I wanted to share with you today about how I have received healing in my body, in my spirit, in my soul, and much of it is due to Alex Lloyd's healing generator, which I've encountered. And I want to tell you my story and tell you what's happened to me. I'm 44 years old. I'm a mother of 5 children, and I am a pastor. My husband and I pastor an 8,000-member church, and I've always been a happy, wonderful, blessed person. And about 4 years ago, I started having health problems, and first there was small things like chronic hoarseness, although that was large to me. I'm a singer, and I began to not be able to sing and lead worship at my church without having to warm up for 30 minutes. I went to a specialist, and throughout 3 or 4 years, one thing after another, every time I went to a doctor or a new doctor, there was something else wrong with me. I received a new diagnosis. All in all, these are some of the diagnoses that I've received. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, gallbladder full of gallstones, chronic fatigue syndrome, Epstein-Barr virus, adenomyosis, fibroid tumors of the uterus, laryngopharyngeal reflux disease, low iron, low B12, vitamin deficiencies in all different aspects. I did take a questionnaire that showed I was also depressed. And, you know, I think anyone would be depressed if you had all these physical problems. But what happened was these things just kind of gradually began to snowball, and until August of 2003, I came to a point in my life where I could not function, and I could not go on with life. My husband and my children, we were packing for vacation, and I stood in front of the suitcase and I just began to cry, and I said, I can't do it. I can't pack my suitcase. And I know that sounds silly, but that is how much I could not function. And so at that point I began a journey. I had already, for 3 years prior to that, I had been trying nutrition. I had completely changed the way I ate. I'd cut out all sugar. I had taken multiple vitamin supplements, all the green powder and the oils and the, you know, I tried everything. I'd seen 10 different doctors throughout that 3-year period. And some I would seem to get better, but then the next time I went to the doctor, I'd receive a new diagnosis. And so I got to the point where I had to take a 3-month sabbatical from my work at our church, which I'm one of the worship leaders at our church, and I do also preach. And I had to take 3 months off. And as we were, let me go back to the story, we were packing the suitcase. I couldn't pack. I told my husband, you and the kids go without me. I'm going to stay here for a week and try to determine what to do. I cried out to God. And I said, Lord, there is somebody in this world. I know. I have tried everything. I had read 40 books by this time on health and nutrition and different diseases. I said, there's got to be somebody in this world who knows how to help me. And I cried every day for that whole week. I went to see 3 different doctors during that week. It was just a few days later that my brother called me and told me to listen to somebody that was on a radio talk show. And he said, Jennifer, they're talking about your situation. It sounds like there's somebody that can help you. I ran and grabbed the radio. I turned on the radio, and it was Dr. Alex Lloyd and Dr. Ben Johnson. And I only heard 5 minutes of the program because it was almost over. But what I heard gave me hope. I got on their website and I called their phone number and I asked them, have you ever been able to help anyone with chronic fatigue syndrome? The person on the other end of the line said, it's not easy, but we can help you. And I gave them my credit card, paid my money, and I began to have personal coaching sessions with one of their representatives. And what they did was they taught me some meditation, prayer exercises that I could do They told me to do these 3 to 5 times a day for 5 minutes at a time. At this point, I tried everything, so I was willing to do whatever. From the first moment that I did one of the exercises they said to do, I immediately at that first moment felt a peace begin to come into my life. Through a process of several weeks, my symptoms did not improve, but my heart began to feel hope, began to feel love, began to feel peace, began to feel joy. After about 3 weeks of doing just these simple exercises 3 to 5 times a day, I got to a point where I felt so much joy in my heart that I began to say to myself, even if I never get healed of my physical problems, I could be happy this way for the rest of my life, because the joy that I felt through connecting with God through these exercises was so much more than the joy I had experienced in the years prior. The joy that I felt began to heal my heart. And after about 6 weeks of doing these prayer meditation exercises, I laid down to go to bed one night after doing one of the exercises. As I laid down, at that point in my life, I could only sleep 5 hours per night. I would wake up in the middle of the night and just have thoughts rolling and rolling around over in my brain. Couldn't sleep, couldn't go back to sleep. At that point, I was also taking 2 to 3 naps a day. All the people in my church had volunteered to bring food to our family because I could not perform just any of the normal household duties that I needed to perform. So at that point, after 6 weeks of doing the healing generator exercises, I laid down at night, and as I laid down, I felt a warm feeling starting at the top of my head, going all the way down through felt like it was in my veins, going all the way through my arms, my fingers, down into my body. When it was about at waist high, I fell sound asleep. And just as I was drifting off to sleep, I said to myself, wow, this feels so good. I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning feeling better physically when I woke up than I had felt for 4 months prior to that. A noticeable difference. I woke up and I thought, wow, I'm getting better, I'm feeling better. It wasn't in that night. That night I slept 6 hours straight. The following night I slept 7 hours straight. And after that point, you know, it just stabilized at that. And after the 3rd day, I began to realize that I was completely free of the fatigue symptoms. The headache that had started at the back, the fatigue that had gone all the way down my neck and shoulders, completely free. I had been so fatigued that I could not lift my hands. And I, at that point, realized I was free of that. That was in October of 2003. I'm currently making this video in August of 2004. Since that time, I have continued doing the healing generator exercises at least twice a day, every day, and I try to do 3 if I can. And since that point, I have been completely healed of fibroid tumors of the uterus, which were confirmed by ultrasound 2 years in a row. Prior to that, it was confirmed adenomyosis. Well, what happened to me was when I felt this healing warmth flowing through my body, I also began to bleed. And I began to bleed for 30 days. I was concerned. I was thinking, wow, I'm feeling so much better. I'm being healed, but yet I'm bleeding. I went back to the doctor, and the ultrasound confirmed that my uterus was completely normal and totally free of all fibroid tumors. I had been on thyroid medication for low thyroid. I am currently not on any thyroid medication, and my thyroid blood levels, T3 and T4, are completely within normal range. I had the chronic hoarseness is completely gone. I have no more problem with that. And what I have realized, I still am battling the gallbladder thing, although I have been supposedly had gallstones for 2 years now and have never had my gallbladder removed, and I eat a normal diet and live a normal life. Every so often it flares up, but I feel like I have the tools now to attack that gallbladder problem, and I feel like I'm going to be completely healed. What I didn't realize, that I realize now, was that there was major stress in my life. Not just the 5 kids, the 8,000 member church, the active lifestyle, but what I realized was there was fear that I was allowing to infiltrate my heart and my mind every day of my life. Fears of not being good enough, fears of not measuring up, fears that something bad was going to happen to me, that my husband was going to die and I was going to have to pastor the church. These fears were constant companions to me during this 3-year period where I had health problems. I thought my problems were health related. Now I see that my problems were heart related. What has happened is through these healing generator exercises, my heart has been healed by the power of God, and my body has begun to heal itself and is still healing itself. I give glory to God, and I thank God for bringing Alex Lloyd into my life. God bless you. And now I'm going to introduce to you a friend of mine who also has experienced great results from the healing generator, and that is Melissa and her son Christopher, who also go to our church.